Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we will be discussing the first reveals of the new expansion coming up, and here is the one that we got yesterday. We saw that there was a new keyword, Augment. When you play a created card, grant me 1+0, and we got the first card, Mechanized Mimic, which is a 5-mana 3/4 augment. Attack, grant me all keywords on allies. So we'll go through this first, what I think augment will do, and we'll talk about the mimic, and then we'll go through today's spoilers as well. So let's talk about first of all, let's talk about what I expect for this little batch here. We know the champions we're going to get are Victor, Zoe, and Riven, I think is how it's pronounced, but I'm not versed in the league lore, so don't at me with that. And what I expect is that Zoe and Victor and Augment will be the sort of Targon P&Z mesh is kind of what I'm expecting. Generally, when they release these expansions, what they try and do is, you know, go for things where each region combo, you know, like each region combination has a deck that they specifically have planned for. Some work better than others, but if you go back, you can kind of normally find little through lines of where it might work. And this with Augment, I assume will be Targon P&Z, because those are the regions that create cards. And Zoe, you know, from what we know about Zoe, will likely be doing a similar sort of thing. So, Augment as a keyword. When you play a created card, grant me 1/0. Now, it is only 1 attack and 0 defense. So what that means is that this is going to be good, I assume, on cards where they have certain keywords, like Elusive, like Overwhelm, that kind of thing, and not as good on, you know, just a generic card. So you're going to want Augment to be teamed with other keywords as well. Otherwise, I just don't think it has that much use. Of course, they could print a card that maybe, you know, could be very good. It would obviously depend on the whole card, but in general, I think, you know, you're going to need other keywords to work with Augment to make it worthwhile, I guess. And then we can talk about Mechanized Mimic, which is a 5-mana 3/4 attack, grant me all keywords on allies. Now, of course, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the kind of card where Augment makes sense, because, you know, you can use this with, you know, things with Elusive, things with Overwhelm, and give the Mechanized Mimic Overwhelm. Now, obviously, this has to be on the board for Augment to start working for it, I assume. So you are going to have to play cards after turn 5 to get this to work, which, you know, makes it a little awkward. It has 4 health, which is okay, but not great. Obviously, you can give it a bunch of keywords, you know, like giving this quick attack, Overwhelm, Elusive would, you know, make it pretty big. Regeneration, double attack, obviously, would make it somewhat very good. So it's going to be a bit of a build around card. But you can build certain things around it, right? And let's just quickly touch on the different things that Augment can use, or things that we know it can use right now. We, of course, have mushrooms. We have things like Poro Cannon. We have, like, Draven's Axes. We have Celestial cards, of course, are created cards as well. And, you know, I'm sure there's many other, you know, even stuff like Nari Dustbringer creates the little 1-mana card as well. So there's plenty of things that create cards, obviously, like Flash of Brilliance, Trail of Evidence as well. So there will be, you know, probably quite a lot of ways to use Augment, and specifically within P&Z. So it's likely that, you know, this will be a nice keyword for the region as a whole. And so moving on to the spoilers from today, we have this video here. So let's watch and see what happens. I'm not hearing any audio. Well, we've got to sort of create a thing here. What's going on? So they play this 2-mana card, I think that was. And they are looking at Armed Gearhead, Nyan Droid, which is a cat. That's pretty funny. And Ballistic Bot. The quality on this video isn't ideal, but I'm pretty sure this is quick attack. This is Elusive. So 1/3 Elusive for 3. Not great. A 1/1. All with Augment as well, though. So Elusive probably a little better. I'm pretty sure that's a quick attack, a 1/1, or a 2-mana augment, round start, create a something in hand. But, oh, the quality just got a lot better. An ignition. Create a ignition. Shouldn't that be an ignition in hand? So this, it seems, is the first card. It is Calculated Creations, a 2-mana burst speed spell. Create a Gearhead, Nyan Droid, or Ballistic Bot in hand. So essentially you're going to get a choice of these 3 for 2 mana burst speed. Let's just go back to them. So is that a good card? 2 mana burst speed spell, choice of 3 different units. We'd have to know what ignition is for, obviously, to see how good this Ballistic Bot is. That card wasn't called Ignition, was it? Nyan Droid could be somewhat useful. I suspect there may be an elusive P&Z deck coming from all of this. That would not shock me in the least, because of course you do already have Pyro Cannon, which again will use Augment as well because it's creating cards. So it would not shock me to see an elusive P&Z deck come out of this at all. 2 mana gives you options. The options are okay. They aren't amazing, but also, do they augment themselves? Like, they are created cards, so do they all make themselves? This is 2/3. Is this a 2/1? Is this a 2/3? Because if so, then these are obviously, I would say, quite good. And so this card I would rate overall pretty solid, not amazing. So this is a playable card as well, Ballistic Bot. Are they all playable cards? Does it shows? I guess it won't there on this. Oh, they are all playable cards. Okay, so you can play them anyway. So we just found out about all of them as well. So let's see what an ignition is. Yeah, we know what augment does. There's armed gearhead, so we're looking for ignition. The Nyan Droid, very good name. Funny drawing as well. Ignition. 1 mana, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. It doesn't have a mana gem. Fleeting card. So this Ballistic Bot, round start, create an ignition. Wow, that's an interesting card. Whoa. So obviously Plunder Enabler big time. Could be very useful for stuff like Gangplank, Zedwani. Obviously using this with something like Funsmith will obviously deal 2 to the enemy nexus, as with Kegs as well. That seems pretty good, to be honest. Anytime you can get a 2 mana card that like warrants removal quickly, is pretty good most of the time. Yeah, I think this would be a pretty powerful card overall. I can see this in, you know, as I say, Sejuani type deck. And what that'll allow you to do as well in that kind of deck is move away from kind of the mushroom package as well, which I don't think is as, like, it's a great way to enable, you know, the different plunder usages, but probably not as powerful as other things could be. And if you can just generically play, you know, something like Ballistic Bot that can, you know, move you away from that, that could be quite useful indeed. And as well, in one of my favorite decks, the sort of Gangplank Teemo deck as well, I could definitely see this. And again, maybe swapping out Teemo for more useful cards, perhaps you could say, like Twisted Fate. So Ballistic Bot, I think, looks pretty good. We'll keep going to see if there's any more. And obviously this can be discarded and all that. Hex Core Foundry. Ooh, the landmark for P&Z. Which is only a rare, not an epic. 3 mana, round start, all players draw 1. This I don't think is a good card, but it might have uses. Like in a mushroom deck. That's an interesting one. Like, it's not a good card. Like, you're paying 3 mana, you know, which is normally kind of a crucial turn in the game. You know, it's where all decks start, right? All decks start on 3 at least. It's kind of an important turn, and, you know, I'm just thinking you play this, and they play, like, Remembrance and get a Moose. Like, you're in trouble. You know, next turn you're just taking 10, and you're giving them an extra card. I don't think that this is playable, but maybe there's a synergy somewhere that someone can think of that, you know, will make this pretty good. I think landmarks overall are obviously quite slow. And if this was 2 mana, it would probably be better. But I think any landmark that is over 2 mana is struggling to see play because they're just too slow to give up a board space, to not have anything on the board. It needs a very big effect to make it worthwhile. And if this said you draw 1, yes, absolutely, play this card. Giving your opponent cards as well. Like, why is that better for you? Why is that so much better for you that you've paid 3 mana to do a, you know, universal effect? Interesting, it says all. Does that mean we're going to get, you know, more than 2 player games? Who knows? We'll keep going. And then if this is... Oh, no, we got one more. Aftershock, 4 mana. Slow. Deal 3 to anything or destroy a landmark. So here is the landmark removal for P and Z. Deal 3 to anything. I mean, if landmarks get played, you know, if landmarks become more and more popular, and we see like some tier 1 decks running it, then this would be a card that you could play. Absolutely. You know, the fact that it's deal 3 to anything is, you know, really nice. Gives you that flexibility, and you know, if, as I say, landmarks become popular, then yeah, this will see play. You know, people already are playing gotcha in certain decks, or you know, it sees some play. So I don't see why this wouldn't see play, particularly if landmarks become popular. But if they don't, I you know, you'll have better options than Aftershock, I think. So very meta dependent call, right? If landmarks are good, this card is very good. If not, then it's not that good. And it looks like that will be that. So let's quickly recap the whole deal. So first we got Calculated Creations. 2 mana burst speed spell that gives you a choice of different units to use. I think overall this will be decent. The fact that it's burst speed is pretty nice as well. Especially in like spell synergy decks. Could we potentially see a, you know, a Lee Sin deck? Obviously we'll have to know how this works with Victor. I assume he will be an augment champion. So obviously it will probably go in the augment deck, in the fact that it's pretty good. Ballistic Bot I especially like. These other ones were cards as well. So Ballistic Bot, I would say, is probably the best of all of them. You know, the fact that it can get more and more attack the more you play it. And I think the way this is worded, that if you did use a Calculated Creations, that they would get the 1 extra attack straight away. I think. Because it comes down, oh, you've played a card now that, you know, was created, so then give me 1 attack as well, because I am a card that was created. So I think that this, when you use that, is actually a 2 mana 2/3 with this ability, which I think is pretty strong. I would say this is... PNZ doesn't really have a premium 2-drop. Like Patch Porobot is like one of the best. So this I imagine might, you know, take that throne, and Ballistic Bot. And I also think Augment could potentially, you know, help us create a PNZ Allegiance deck, which we haven't seen before. So Ballistic Bot gets a tick from me. Armed Gearhead. Now look, if you're against an aggro matchup and you just need a quick chump blocker and you've got nothing else, and you only had 3 mana, you know, it's turn 2, then maybe you could play this to block something out. It wouldn't shock me, but I don't think you'd play this in a deck. I don't think you would. It does have quick attack, so maybe with the other one it would be useful, but I don't think that this one is quite making the cut. And then finally, Nyan Droid. Anytime you can get elusive with the potential to buff its attack quite easily, it probably is worth something. It's got 3 health, which, you know, makes it decently resilient. So yeah, I think Nyan Droid, if you can, you know, raise the attack of this quite a lot, then I think it would be pretty decent. And maybe, as I say, we could see an elusive P&Z deck, you know, with Daring Poros and the like, and stuff like Nyan Droid and, you know, Poro Cannons and all of that. I could see that working as a decent deck as well. Ignition, of course, the card that is created. I think this will be really good for either discard decks or really just any deck. And then finally the Landmark, not so great. And overall the Aftershock, decent but not crazy. So that is all of the cards. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. My name's been Chris. It still is Chris. Always has been Chris. And yeah, pretty excited for more reveals. So stay tuned as we go through the new spoilers and, you know, start to theory craft exactly what might be going on in the future.